educate, inform, and entertain.
That is true.
Yes.
But we
so
also...
if you are giving information, you should give you should not give half-baked information.
Okay, at least the scientists will be able to come out and tell us the effects of this drug. But at least in an interview by Winnevie Anyema, she applauded the United States for innovating this. Now, the National Council of Higher Education issued a certificate confirming that Brigadier General retired Emmanuel Rwashande meets the minimum education qualification to run for MP, basing on an assessment partly on basic military training course purportedly conducted by the UPDF in 1982. Mark you, the UPDF was not in existence in 1982. It was in the bush, fighting in the bush war. It was never UPDF. How and when did General Rwashande get this basic training and the certification and its equivalence to the USCE is something that we all can debate. Now, the topic of discussion is most political parties, officers are definitely a behavior of activity as members return the expression of interest forms for various positions. We know all, whether it's Kid Kavule, whether it's Chadondo, whether it's Najana Kumbi, members of the different political parties are returning forms, and at least we have two individuals that are standing for MPship. They will tell us of how far they've gone. The Chairperson Electoral Commission warns of security agencies staying in their lane as we gear for the elections, and all these different stakeholders. I'm joined by four gentlemen in Bright Muhumuza, who is a long-time big seater, and good to see him after 2 years. I have Turnayesu Hudson, who wants to be the Rwampara County Member of Parliament. I'm very sure that he's picked and returned nomination forms. I have Bwenjes Deus Didit, who is a big seater, is a lawyer and an advocate of the High Court. Nyarwa Ezra is a lawyer and an advocate of the High Court. Welcome, gentlemen, and let me start with Bwenje. Good morning and welcome to the Big Set.
Yes, the pleasure is mine. I want to start off with a comment on the war in Palestine. I think I'm concerned much more about the children there who are starving. They have no food. They're being bombed day in and day out. And I want to warn the state of Israel not to use food as a weapon of war, because that is bad by the international laws of war. And then I call upon the two sides to kind of exercise the voice of reason and aim for peace at all costs. And of course, as NARU, as the National Revolution for the Restoration of Uganda, or SWAP, we advocate for a two-state solution for the end of the conflict in Palestine. Because as long as Palestine is not a state in itself and of itself, there will never be peace in the Middle East. And so we invite all states of the world, especially those who are in the UN, to kind of to be in support of a two-state solution, so that you can have peace not only in the Middle East but in the entire
Gulf. Yes. All right.
In the entire Gulf and the world at large.
Okay, welcome, Council Bwenje. I have to welcome Bright Muhumuza. Good morning and welcome to the Big Set.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Banyaji. Good morning, the esteemed listeners of the Big City.
Yes,
I have been on first leave.
You've been on first leave. Welcome back. I am pretty sure that you intend to stand as Member of Parliament for Mbara City South on the National Inter-Platform flag. Have you picked nomination forms, or have you returned the forms for expression of interest?
I have picked and returned the forms.
Yes.
So I'm now duly nominated. I now stand unopposed. Now, as of now. So we don't know what happens tomorrow, and the closing date is 23rd. in case any of our listeners is interested to contest against me. Yeah, make sure 23rd doesn't really catch up with you. I want to also make a small comment about the involvement of some big shots in our local politics. And I can mention that I am not happy with what the Deputy Speaker is doing to our local
Are you
communities.
referring to Right Honorable Thomas Taiwan?
Yes.
Okay.
Because every time he visits a member of parliament or a friend, it is important that we have friends. But you cannot force them on people. You cannot come and say, if you don't send this one, I mean, it's as if he's the one installing leaders. So if you have your friends, keep it at that. He is entitled to having friends. But you cannot come to Mbarara State's house, Mbarara State, unnecessarily, and you start telling people, forcing them to vote Mwenempaka. So you allow the people from Mbarara State's house to choose the leaders they want. Every time he goes to Shema, he has friends in Shema. He says, I want this one. He goes to Rwambara, I want this one, as if he's dictating. So I mean, I want to warn him and tell him that we are building a democratic society, and he should give the people of Uganda an opportunity to choose leaders of their choice.
Welcome, Bright Mohammed. Good morning, Council Ezra, and welcome to the Big Set.
Thank you, Mr. Banyaji, for having me. I also want to add my voice about what Council has talked about, the war in Palestine, and then another one he has not talked about. It's between Ukraine and
Russia.
It's between Iran and Israel. And of course, for me, the way I'm reading things, if it is not handled with care, we may go to Third World War. And of course, the weapons they are using is against the international humanitarian law, the law that governs the law of the war. So if, of course, it looks at if I want someone, maybe a rebel, do I have to use a missile? If there is one rebel, do you have to use a grenade? You can use a pistol to kill that person. So of course, whatever they are doing is offending the Geneva Convention and other laws.
Okay.
Yes.
But majority of the observers are quite happy that at least there's been some damage on Israel, because the latest we were seeing is majority of the destruction was on Iran, where majority their revolutionary guard leadership was literally wiped out. And Israel went ahead to even warn that Ayatollah could be eliminated anytime now. Should we advocate for a change of leadership in both Israel and Iran? Because at least I'm following the Reza, who was in the former leadership of Iran, the monarch, is now active. I know he's in either Canada or the US. Is active and wants to get back authority in Iran, and we pray that the peace happens and tranquility prevails in the Middle East, but also let the states respect international law. Good morning, Hudson Turinayesu, and welcome to the Big Set.
Good morning, Mr. Banyaji. I'm glad to be back again here. I want to add my voice to what Council just said in regard to Israel using excessive force. I don't know what everyone terms as excessive force. I don't know if it is Iran using excessive force or if it is Israel using excessive force.
I think both of them are culpable. Yes.
Both of them are culpable. But in this case, I don't expect Israel to complain after wiping out an entire leadership of another country when that country was not at war at that particular point. I think we are going to end up with the case of Iraq, where they woke up and accused Saddam of having weapons of mass destruction. And then we recently saw Blair coming up to apologize, to say, I feel sorry. Look, when you come back after years, after destroying another country, to say you're sorry for destroying that country, that you are wrong, you are a total criminal. You get it?
Yes.
So I think for now, Iran is doing what Iran should be doing. It is simply defending itself. It is a sovereign state. It is a sovereign state. It has been attacked. There is cause to justify
The retaliation.
the retaliation.
Yes.
And the retaliation is in equal measure, like what was given to it. So I think for now, let's pray that the US doesn't get involved and pull in other superpowers directly.
At least by close
Directly.
of business yesterday, I was able to have access to a video where, in the Situation Room, President Donald Trump said, "It is their war. We are not about to get involved in their war. After
Exactly.
all, America first. We are advocating that America will not be involved in other
In these
things
kind of
of
things.
Israel." But also here in Rwanda, President Kagame is reported to be announcing bad health in Germany. But the leader of opposition, literally, Victoria Ngabire, was arrested yesterday in the night and going to be realigned before court. We're following that very closely, but we're stopping for a break. And when we come back into our topic of discussion, Hudson will tell us what's in the NRM, as Bright Mahomes tell us what's happening in the NUP. Don't touch your radio, because we'll be right back after these messages. Good morning.
It's tough, it's bold, it's real politics. On 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music,
Great music.
great friends.
Great friends.
All right, we are back. It's 35 minutes past 9 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music, great friends. My name is Wesige Banyaji. Good morning from wherever that you're catching the show. Don't forget that you can be able to listen to the show online if you're out of frequency here. You're out of Western Uganda, you're in Kampala, or you're in Abu Dhabi, or you're in South Africa, or in Israel, or Iran, whatever. You can be able to listen to the big seat on cruisefm.com/stream, but also follow whatever that is happening, how these gentlemen are articulating issues here and debating on Cruise TV, on TikTok and YouTube, and that's courtesy of Creative Digital Media. There, just type in Cruise TV, you'll be able to see all that is happening here. The questions are on our social media handles, 912 Cruise FM on X and 91.2 Cruise FM on Facebook. Now, I know the people like Madilu in him. I know there is Chris Saja and the gentleman at Kobidi here. And there's so many callers that we always get. And Apollo Tumusime last weekend, and those that contribute, especially the experts, those that are authorities on these topics. You'll be able to call in on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. But also, if I told you a business owner, you have an event, you have a promotion, you want to do an activation, you have a message that you want to reach to the people, reach on us and we shall give you a discounted rate on advertising. And that is real good. Must remain in their lane. Security agencies must not be seen to sabotage particular actors in the electoral process. With me in studio is Counsel Bwenje Deusdidi. He is a lawyer and advocate of the High Court. Hudson Turinaisu wants to be Member of Parliament for Rwampara account on the NRM ticket. Bright Muhumza, who is the member who wants to be Member of Parliament from Bara City South on the NUP ticket, and Council Ezra here. We are going to be discussing. Let me start with Hudson. First, I know you followed the youth elections. At least it gave us a sample of perhaps what we should expect in the 2026 general elections. You wiped this out, and literally there was very small contestation. There were a few skirmishes here and there with the fighting and all the allegation of voter bribery and intimidation and all that. Tell us where you sit, what is the state of affairs, especially in the NRM. What's there that the listener must understand as we gear up for the elections?
Thank you very much, Mr. Banyaji. You know, the last time I was here, I didn't have any titles other than being
Mr. Hudson.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes.
But now when you ask me issues regarding the NRM, I have positions that allow me to speak on behalf of the NRM.
So which position is that?
I am the General Secretary for Rwampara District, the NRM, so now meaning that I sit on the deck for Rwampara, and I am the Chairman, NRM, Fundija Sub-County as well. That is also in Rwampara, one of the two sub-counties that make up Rwampara County. So I now come with a bit of authority to speak.
Yes, how are you performing in the party?
In the party, first of all, I want to congratulate our youth and other special interest group people that did participate in the recent concluded elections. I think by and large they were quite very successful. They were very successful. Though there are a few complaints, like you've just pointed out, the issue of Ntungamo. People were running around, and I heard that in Ntungamo, NUP managed to scoop some few positions in Central, which was quite very surprising. But what people are complaining about is the usual stuff that happens when a period like this comes up. You expect voter bribery. In Uganda of today, I want to assure you that there is no way you can separate this sort of period we're in from voter bribery. I want to assure you, me like someone who's already in Rwampara County looking for votes, I want to tell you that whenever I am on ground, you just address masses. But the very moment you're done, people are waiting to tell you that, look, sir, the good words you've just given us is good food for the soul. But what about the body? Even the body needs to be fed. We cannot only feed the soul and the spirit, and we don't feed the body. And it is the mindset of our people on ground. I think it is a bad culture that was propagated by the people we have found. And it is a culture that is being exploited by the incumbents. Now, imagine someone has just been handed 100 million. You expect that person not to use the 100 million in the campaign to his advantage? So some of us who are coming up are facing that bit of resistance.
And you're using your little savings.
And we are depleting, not even using.
So is he making a confession that he's actually engaging in bribery?
I haven't yet said I.
And after
I have pointed out that
nomination,
them.
No, but he's just pointing
I
out
am
a
pointing
reality.
out the realities.
No, he's telling us what is the idea.
Situation.
No, he actually said that the incumbents
Incumbents.
are using that against,
No.
especially
Who
the
are joining
newcomers,
us, the
knowing
newcomers.
that they were only given 100 million
100
just
million.
the other
For us,
day.
you've not been given anything.
Yes.
No.
Okay, please let's
So,
see. No. Unless you're going to, yes. Yes.
See, we are here not to entertain the people. We are here to inform and advise.
Yes.
You see,
His opinion
Council-
should be,
Council-
even if the status quo is that the current,
But he has not
1.5.
supported.
No.
Bribery.
He's
only explaining a reality.
I can read his mind. And know.
Okay.
You want to
Thank
read my
you.
mind? You
Thank
have
you.
become
Thank you.
Jesus
Thank you.
Christ.
Thank you, Gwenja.
No,
Hudson.
look,
Yes.
you see, whenever we come to studio, we also must reflect what is on ground. When we come here and we behave like we don't know the realities on ground, then we lose the point.
Then you go
Because
back to lecture rooms and
lecture rooms and
speaking
it all.
academics.
But I want to tell you that on ground things are very different. On ground things are very different. We can come here and talk to these people, but the people on ground actually know what is happening on ground. I, for one, am not saying I'm bribing voters, no, but I have pointed out that people are practicing this, and it's going to be a habit that will be very hard to uproot. I, for one, at some point, I will have to facilitate. I may not bribe, but I will have to facilitate.
Yes.
It is facilitation of some sort. You know, people, you will get down on ground, and someone has given you, they call it omuzi. I should be right now harvesting my coffee, but I'm here seated waiting to listen to you, Honorable.
Yes.
So tell me, what compensation do I go back home with? And look, you're either going to do it, or if you don't do it, the person who does it gets vote. The president of SWAPO might come here and try to paint a different picture of how he's a righteous man, but let him engage in active politics, not in this boardroom
He
politics.
stood in 2021, and
You
I can
see,
tell you.
you see right now,
Tell our
by
people.
him standing
What
in
will tell
2021,
our people?
Mr.
Yes.
Banyaji,
Yes.
we would be addressing him as honorable or as something if indeed he had done what he had to do.
So,
but he
is
stood
he
by what
saying-
I'm telling you. That is why we
Okay,
have
thank you, Hudson.
No, that's a
Hudson,
serious statement,
thank
and
you,
I
thank
must
you,
address
Hudson.
it. Is he saying that he's going to bribe his people, and by all means, he's going to be elected? No.
I think you.
So
no,
it's not a guarantee.
I think he has missed a point.
No, no,
Where
no,
I
no.
see it,
I've not
you've missed a point.
We are
I'm
just
saying,
thinking.
even if I did not bribe anybody, I'm not in parliament because I didn't. Because I failed.
no,
to
because you didn't
bribe
have
them.
the
No.
money to drive. If
And
you had,
so
you
him-
would have dished it out.
So is he saying that he's going to bribe them and they are going to elect him? No. Whether you bribe them or not,
Let's hear his point.
they might elect you or not. But I think the heart of the question is, as people who are land, as people who intend to lead, are we going to engage in the same illegal bribery as the current leaders are?
Mr. Banyaji,
There's
No, no.
something we
Let's
can
allow him.
So even if the people want us to give them money, we have the option of saying no. Okay, so you don't have to dance to the tunes of the voters. But otherwise, you don't become an example to them.
Okay.
Okay, so
I
so
think you've
even
made-
if
I
they
think
want
you've made your
money,
point.
we can say no. I don't have money for you. You vote for me on merit. If you don't want, you leave.
Mr.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Banyaji,
Okay, okay.
I wanted to point out something.
I
Otherwise-
think we need. Let me
Corruption
guide.
is going to be here for now and forever. So now the mantle is now on us.
Okay, I think you've made your point.
Say no to corruption.
I think every
In
listener has gotten
conclusion,
to understand what
his point
Bwenje,
is.
what his
But
point
also
is.
to sub-
But we should also know, Bwenje, there is an ideal world that
World.
would wish
That's
for.
what I wanted to point
And
out,
there is
actually.
what the reality
The-
is.
the reality
The
is.
reality
It comes
is.
from idealism. I can't
And
agree with you.
listen, gentlemen, where I work in Makansing here, I interact with people involved in the informal sector, and they will tell you for free, whoever is not buying my vote will not get the vote. It's that simple.
So how can we change that?
So it's either Hudson defying what the electorate expects, and
And you don't
he
get
keeps
anything.
in promoting artists,
Exactly.
or he conforms and then gets his way to parliament and perhaps work around changing the
no,
situation.
no, he cannot change.
Let me engage Bright. Yes, the state.
Yeah, Mr. Banyaji.
Yes.
Allow me to also give my view on the issue of monetization of politics.
Yes.
Because now the question is, do we need money in politics or we don't need it? If we use money in politics, what happens? What are the effects of using money in politics? When we choose leaders basing on who is having what are the effects, both negatives and positives? The question Mr. Trunayes was trying to raise was about if you use money in politics, chances are that you are likely to have leaders who are largely in politics to look for personal endeavors. We may not produce leaders who want to serve the communities where they represent. Because now, if somebody has bought his votes, he has paid you to vote for him. So the truth of the matter is you are not going to be having enough moral authority to ask him for the services. Because you said you wanted rice, like those from Kakowa. For them, if you give them prao, they will vote for you. Some of them say, no, they know. If they have eaten, but you see,
but I have not asked for pilau. You see, I have to interject. You can say some. Using sweeping statements are not right. You can say some.
Okay, we can realign. Some.
Yes, you can't say
from the rooks
in Kakoba.
From the rooks, really, you tell the truth. If you land on rice, really, the way I see you, I think you can.
Actually, I want you to withdraw that. I want you to withdraw that statement before we.
I know you cannot.
Yes,
I know you.
Castle Ezra. I think. Yeah.
Actually unacceptable.
I
You
think
do
let's
not-
agree.
You do not discriminate people according to how they appear.
Yes.
I think let's agree.
Stereotyping is
And
very
he does
bad.
not have evidence.
Let's agree. We are not going to go petty.
The question I'm trying to raise is that people ask for no.
Please,
The question, you see, the question. You see, let us not deviate. Let us not deviate from the core.
Let's not.
Let us not deviate from the core. We are saying using money in politics is bad. We should condemn it. Now, it is our responsibility as people who come here, because not everybody will have an opportunity to come on cruise.
Yes.
It is our responsibility to educate, to inform our voters that now, this time around, if you have been voting for rice, if you have been voting for soda, for warrage, for sorot, for soap, now it is important that now you start looking at issues that affect your communities. You raise questions that matter to your communities.
but Mr.
Leadership
Mr.
questions.
Muhumuza.
Some of the voters don't know what their leaders are supposed to do for
Mr.
them.
Mr.
For them,
Muhumuza.
they think a leader is supposed to attend their burials.
Mr.
They are supposed to attend the
let me give it to you. I was here in 2016. I was here in 2021.
Yes.
Awan Mugabe Kachebezi stood in both elections. And people were excited to vote him. I dare Mr. Kachebezi to say that he bribed any Munyambara here
But we are
to
saying
give him a vote.
The question is what motivated them. They voted out of anger. They were having a protest vote. So for them,
a protest vote twice.
You see, the one who was there, my good friend
Wilson
Tumwine, you know he's Mukonogama. He could not give any money.
Yes.
You know it.
Yes.
So for them, he had been in power for 3 terms. So for them, at least they had be. Yes, for you see, there can be. We can discuss a case by case.
Yes.
We can, but generally, you know that our voters need money. Generally, that's the question was trying to raise. And when we come on TV, on radio,
We are
like
both
this one,
on radio and TV.
yes, we are supposed to tell people that really this time around, raise issues that concern the education of your child, issues that concern your health, issues that concern your infrastructure development. You don't raise issues of sodas and sort and what not. So that the question was trying to mention, because that means those that have money will keep in power. Those that have capacity of reading or and they have money, they will never go to parliament. They will never be councillors. You see, now we were in recently concluded elections of NRM primaries structures.
Yes.
Chairperson LC1, you are slaughtering two cows to hold the flag to become a chairperson LC. You make a rally, you hire FUSO, you bring the borders are like 100, and you want to become a chairperson LC1 who gets 10,000 per month, 10,000 as a salary. I don't know whether it's a salary, whether allowance or ranch, what. 10,000 for the whole. So it means there are other hidden issues they get from those positions. Corruption. So my question is, I support largely, entirely I support the question of Mr. Torinayesu, that when we come here, we tell the listener, the voter, that this time around, since we are heading for elections, prepare your mindset, be ready. Tell them, we tell them the question they should ask these people who present themselves before them.
Okay.
Now on question of you asked me about the NOP issue. First of all, the exercise is very clear and transparent. For us, before we used to have a constitution of Chibarama, the Chibarama constitution, the one which we inherited.
Of 2022, before the political parties were literally brought on board and legalized.
No, the 2022, no. It's the same constitution, but now for that constitution was a bit limited.
Okay.
Because the other part of Chibarama was largely in a briefcase party, largely. So it was limited in terms of structures and, so when we came in, we went to Jinja for a retreat for 3 days. We agreed to make some amendments in that constitution. So when we made amendments, and the chairperson, we even got the chairperson of constitutional review, that is the Honorable Nambo Ozeba Chereke, deputized by Segona. So they helped us to gather our views, and we made some recommendations to the constitution. Unfortunately, when that constitution was presented to the electoral commission, somebody went to court from Chibarama's side. We suspect largely that they were supported by the government. That's what we suspect. I said we suspect. Yes. And since then they have always tossed us. They say, no, wait. Now we say now, since we are approaching election time, and they haven't gazetted our new constitution, let us use the Chibarama constitution.
Yes.
Now, because in the new constitution, I would have been a delegate because I am a chairperson, elected chairperson from Baranup. But now in the former constitution of Chibarama, I cannot be a delegate because...
Wait, he's providing information that is important that the listener gets to understand.
But you see,
is subject
it
to
is
and I'll give you an opportunity to
rebut. It is
rebut.
important that you give him an opportunity to raise his issues.
So because she's saying she's the
this
elected
is a
chairperson.
Yes.
Let him raise
who
his issues. I will
elected him?
respond.
Who elected you?
So you want me to
No,
mention
no.
the names?
Who?
You want me to mention?
I think there should be
NUP members,
a distinction
NUP
between
members,
appointment and
NUP
election.
You see,
Who
first of all,
elected him?
Bwenje is not a NUP member.
No, it doesn't matter. I'm here
so
to discuss
NUP
matters.
members-
He's raising
NUP
a very,
members.
he's raising
I
a
am
very
speaking
fundamental
on behalf of
question.
NUP.
No.
I am an appointed regional
Exactly,
coordinator
maybe
of
that.
national. No, I am an appointed regional coordinator of National Unity Platform. I am an elected chairperson of Mbarara City.
Who
We have
elected you?
structures.
By
Who
who?
elected you?
By names or the people? You want me to mention the names?
you
I
can't.
was elected by NUP members.
Where?
At the press, the venue. The venue took place at the. They even took place at the Grand Holiday, at Grand Holiday Hotel.
When?
In each and every district of Uganda.
No.
In each.
The-
you
the
listen. I am
NUP
providing
has
information.
never held an election anywhere in Uganda. For
But
a
you see,
flag.
my friend, no, not a flag bearer.
No,
You know you are missing a point.
The flag
For-
of
for-
that
for
thing.
party
No,
structure.
you
Yes,
see,
that's what I'm saying.
Bwenje, listen. Listen,
but you see-
I give information.
No, that
Listen, I
information
give
is fake.
information.
No one has ever elected you.
Thank
No
you,
one has
gentlemen.
You
ever
commit
elected
suicide
you.
because now
No,
I
no one has ever
am
elected
telling
you.
you the truth that in NUP we have two important structures. We have an organizational structure headed by Dr. Kanabi. Dr. Kanabi, he's the head of all the coordinators of National Unity Platform. So under him, and we also have another one of my friend who was defeated recently, Nyanz Fred, the mobilization department. The mobilization department is largely in charge of Kunga teams. We have Kunga teams in each and every district and or village in Uganda under the management of Nyanzi. Now, under Kanabi, Dr. Kanabi, the organizational department where I belong, we have held elections in each and every district. You can check. In West we have a committee. By the way, we have a committee of the district. We have a constituency committees in each and every constituency in Uganda.
Okay, thank you.
And those constituency committees are elected by NUP members.
No, they're just
Okay.
appointed.
So I am giving
let me
information
give it-
because this guy is not a NUP man.
okay.
So
Gentlemen, let me
he doesn't
bring
know
in-
what happens in NUP. I am
Council-
giving him information. My
Council
role.
Ezra.
Are you a member of NRM?
No, I am saying that now when a person of NRM is speaking, I listen.
Yes.
He gives me information. You understand?
Gentlemen,
but somebody who is just
thank you, Bright.
this one, he cannot come here to give information.
Thank
I
you.
am informing you about facts.
No.
I am informing about facts, Mr. Bwenje.
Bright. No. Wait.
Do you have evidence? Or you're
Bwenje
just
and
trying
Bright.
to Isaac?
Bwenje and Bright. I think we can hold it there. Let me engage Council Ezra.
Yes, from what these colleagues have discussed, one, I want to begin with anything that you see. An election is not an event. I think we've discussed that several.
Yes.
That an election is not an event. It is a process that starts with the whatever primaries and the rest. So now, as my colleagues who are aspiring to stand, just to know that as a candidate, you can commit an electoral offense, and once you commit an electoral offense, that can lead to nullification of your victory. So, voter bribery is illegal. So whoever is doing it, you could have a colleague who is standing with you, and whatever he's going to do is to follow your campaign. When you go to church during campaigns and you give money in terms of fundraising and the rest, because that has an effect of influencing the minds of the voters. The money that is allowed to use in an election is when you give to your campaign manager facilitation for transport, water, venues where you go. But once you start giving out, however small the money may be, and there are very many examples of cases that have been nullified because of voter bribery. And sadly, we have reached this far as a country. Because someone will tell you, I was in Bushenyi the other day with colleagues at court, and they were telling me, there is someone who is going with bags of money. Obviously, that is going through. And of course, to me, I said, okay, if the man is going through, how about this one who is standing against him? For me, what I would do is to collect evidence, much as I'm standing. Wherever you go, I'll have your election nullified. That's where we have reached. The Presidential Election Act is very clear on bribery and electoral offences, and of course bad-mouthing other candidates. So when I go to my colleague here, he was talking about the status quo. Of course, he confessed by necessary implication that he's also engaged in bribing, because someone asked him, he talked about incumbent and said, some of us who have savings, we have also used it, which means the guy is also participating in bribing.
And I also added, I need to make clearance
Yes.
on that. And I also added that I also must facilitate.
No,
my
facilitation.
teams. You see,
I've
you don't
I've
know how much
explained
I
to
have
you.
on my accounts and how much I have depleted for you to come to a conclusion.
But you see the word depletion also. It is showing you
depletion
are at
of how
pains.
much? No,
Yes,
at how-
you are already
how
at
much?
pains.
The campaign team does not include those who are going to
Yes.
vote for you.
Yes.
You can facilitate
The law
your
is
campaign
very
agents,
clear.
but not the
But for
voters.
Mr. Banyaji,
Yes.
we need to ensure that this discussion doesn't become like as if it is a lecture room of sorts where we are trying to flex our
But
legal-
Ezra,
our legal
We are telling
expertise.
him,
Ezra
No, no,
and
this
Bwenje
is not
we
about
are telling
discussion.
him
We are having
that
a
it is
discussion
not a
where
matter.
people are
No,
listening
no,
here,
no.
and we must not.
let me have order.
See,
Let me
it's
have
not-
order.
It's not a matter of coming here and telling people that I want you to elect me. No. We are telling him that if he's going to win an election, he must win it in a lawful manner. Okay? So
In fact, we are assisting
we
him.
are not here to
Your campaigns could be an
to
exercise.
massage
in
him
futile.
or to caress him. No, we are telling him
Oh,
if
okay.
you bribe a voter, that is an electoral offense, and
Well,
bribery
let me-
is not even subject to the substantiality test. One single act is enough to nullify the entire election.
Council Bwenje,
Yes.
I mean Council Ezra.
Yes.
You see, what Hudson, I don't know why it has been very difficult for two of you to understand.
Because you see,
No, wait, Benja, I'm the host of this show.
Okay, fine.
And you see, Hudson has painted a reality picture.
of what happens.
He has said clearly that you see, there's a problem that we should all recognize. No, wait. He has clearly said, unfortunately, this problem is only beneficial majorly to the incumbents because they were only given 100 million the other day. So they are going to use it to bribe voters, which is an illegality. He appreciates it. But he also, not being a lawyer like you who is going to speak legalese, he has been realistic to say, when you go to the voters and articulate issues, they reject them. All they want is money and waraji and soap and cooking oil. And there's a problem. So I'm in a catch-22. I either provide the same or abscond, and then I'm not elected. And that is where the debate is. Should the ball be on the court of the electorate or the politician? Let me put it to Ezra. No, I want to put it to Ezra. Yes. Ezra, I want to put it to you.
Yes.
Must politicians run away from the reality? Because the reality is the electorates are selling their votes.
Yes.
If you do different, do you stand a chance to go to parliament? Let's speak from a realistic point of view. Yes. Ezra.
So, for me, like I've said earlier, I would not engage in illegality. Why? If I can't bribe a voter, even if you do what? I will tell you that whatever they are doing is illegal. You either vote me, it is from me. You have stated that Kacheres didn't bribe anyone.
Yes.
And he went through. So if we want to clean politics, if we want to bring people who are sane, then we have to change this narrative.
Do you know the slogan against Kabachevezi now? You either give us money or we are not voting for you. Am I
Let him go.
telling
He
lies?
has served.
That is wrong.
Yes.
And
It is wrong.
him-
And we should actually condemn that.
My view is that Mr.
him,
I have
as
spent,
a
Speak to
I
the
have-
microphone.
I have spent 2 years without coming here.
Yes.
The last time I was here, we used to have decorum. Even when I'm presenting my point and you are not comfortable with it, you, through the moderator, you ask for permission
Yes.
to access a microphone. But Bwenje talks as if he's in a bar, yet he doesn't drink alcohol. Every time he wants to speak, he speaks. So really, we start. We must.
permission from him.
No,
to
you
interject. I
see,
don't.
we have a host. This talk show has a host.
No.
This talk show has a host. You
I
must
know-
respect him.
No,
You don't
I
speak
know
anyhow.
politics is
If
emotion.
somebody is presenting,
Emotion, yeah.
give them an opportunity to give their views. If you want to inform them, yes, you can raise your issue.
See,
But
Let's catch up in the second hour of the show. Don't touch your radio. Good morning.
It's tough. It's bold. Politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music,
Great music.
great friends.
Great friends.
All right. We're back. It's a minute past 10 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music. Great friends. My name is Wesige Banyadi. It's heated in studio because it's politics. And it's bold right here. Every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 11, we sit and talk about matters that affect you. We're talking about the state of different political parties and the electoral process. But don't forget that you can take your business to the next level. Advertise with Western Uganda's biggest radio station. and connect with thousands of local listeners every day. Whether you're launching a new product, promoting a service, or growing your brand, you've got the perfect airtime package for you. So you have to call our sales desk on 07912 for unbeatable rates and customer advertising solutions. So enjoy as you can advertise for us that Wesige would get a bit of pay there. With me in studio is Council Ezra, Council Bwenje, Mr. Hudson Tulinayesu, and Mr. Bright Muhumuza. And we had talked about bribery, whether it's inevitable or not. The lawyers are saying, obey the law. The law is what it is. You shouldn't bribe the electorate in the process of getting yourself into office. But the politicians are saying the lawyers are simply not being realistic. After all, if you want to know that you cannot get into power or office without facilitating or bribing or whichever way that you have to call it, then come to the process. But also, Bright has gotten out a statement to mean that when Bwenje stood, he only garnered about 45 votes. Yes, but I've stated it. No, clearly to mean no. I am saying it's the official record. So
but is it not? No, let
yes.
I'm happy about it. I campaign.
Oh, okay. It is
no. I cannot hate him.
Offense.
I cannot hate him.
There's no offense.
Because
please.
there's nothing wrong in stating a fact.
It's a fact.
Yes. And I'm
yeah.
telling him that I'd rather get one vote than bribing to get 1,000.
Okay, let's move away a bit and talk about the role of security agencies. The other day, the chairperson for the Electoral Commission warned that all stakeholders must stay put in their lane so that we don't see a chaotic election. Just the other day when we were just in receiving the expression of interest forms and returning them at Kavule, we saw the military almost undressing a lady who was putting on a red overall with a knife, and all this that has been happening. We saw in Kawempe North. We now know there is even a call on a major that was heading the UPDF in whatever that was happening in the process, is now in a dungeon or something. A lady called Major Auma. Bright Muhumuza, the role of security agencies.
First of all, what I want to inform the listeners is that since Kavule, the NUP headquarters shifted to Kavule, the military headquarters, police headquarters also shifted to the same. Whether we are picking forms and returning them, whether there is total silence at the headquarters, military and police is always there. When you go there, you find over 14 patrol vehicles of police and UPDF. Tear gas canisters, vehicles carrying those tear gas canisters are around that place. In Uganda, when you oppose government, they equate you to the rebel. By the way, we are an equivalent of Kony. Because they said Kony wants Museveni to go away. Noop wants Museveni to go away. We are the same. That's what they say. They are same. So, all that for us, they become a bit somehow, decent. But it is just a small cover on their face. The truth of the matter, they must deal with us the way they deal with Kony. In Uganda, when you try to oppose government, you have opposed DISO, you have opposed RDC, you have opposed CAO, they war against you, even the mayors fight you, the LCs are against you, you cannot have, it is...
What about URA?
Even you are every government department, you become a problem. You cease being a Ugandan. By the way, you can even lose your citizenship. So the truth of the matter is, the moment you make a decision, and you see, our president said it, if you decide to stand for the truth, be ready to stand alone. Be ready to stand alone. I want to tell you, Mr. Banyaji, that in Uganda, you cannot hold elections and leave UPDF aside. UPDF
But how come you are able to have 57 members of parliament?
Yes.
The same UPDF was supervising.
You see, there is what
or
we
hand
call
a hand in
there
the
is what we
process.
call overwhelming. There is when they become overwhelmed. You see, for example, they normally claim that NRM. I want to give you a quick example.
Yes.
They normally say that NRM has 30 members at the village level, each village, at the structure of NRM. But at the Nyendo polling station, President Museveni got one vote, meaning that even those they claim are theirs didn't vote him. So you can imagine. So the issue is they can be overwhelmed. And our role when we appear on radio here is to tell the listeners about what they should do, why they should change government, what they should expect from leaders. When leaders have not delivered, what are the parameters?
But also,
What do you use as a parameter to conclude that your member of parliament has not performed? That's my role. That's what I should do here, so that the villagers, the community there, hold their leaders accountable.
Bright, I want to ask you a question now that you've talked about how you as a political party move and run by the ideals of democracy. There have been complaints about your internal transparency of the processes that you hold in the party. Just the other day, you had the National Delegates Conference that was in camera. Literally, no journalist, no observer.
First of all, let me.
no non-party
I know where
member.
you are going. Let
Yes.
me give you just the answer you want.
Yes.
I told you before that national unity platform in Uganda, by the way, there is no political party which operates as a political party,
Including the NUP.
including the NUP, because the regime does not allow you to operate like so. First of all, how can a political party be denied an opportunity to interact with the citizenry? When my friend, my boss Chagulanyi wants to go and speak to the people of Uguru, he's stopped. You find he's fighting with military.
Is that the reason?
I see.
you
So
hold-
therefore,
you hold party activities on camera?
I want to tell the listener that nobody should expect that NUP as a political platform is going to help us to take over government. They should remember that we have people power movement. They should remember that, and we have never deviated from the same. We are saying that while we are using national unity platform as a vehicle, as a means, we still belong to the people power. And therefore, some of the activities we are going to hold shall be in closed doors to avoid interference by the state. Remember, as I speak now, FDC has produced 3 political parties. Out of that, you call democracy. When Dr. Kizabesi contested with Muchamundu, you know what happened? Now, the FDC that remained has produced PFF,
And it produced the Uganda Federal Alliance.
and you just wait. If EPFF tries to hold the elections you are trying to describe here on radio, they will have another party formed. So for us, we have told our national leader, His Excellency Chagulanyi Sentamu, that national unity platform is a liberation, is a liberation party. It is as if we are in the bush. It is as if we are in the bush for us, because now we don't have any parameter in Uganda. All the parameters of democracy are against us. We don't meet. There is, because now even if I am on radio now, I am sure that people will ask some of your bosses why they hosted some of us. Even if they don't, they will in the future. When I appear, I mean, so the space
Yes,
the space is
Information.
scarce for some of the people who
You-
do opposition politics.
Let's hear from
Yes.
Ezra. Yes.
You see, my colleague here is trying to paint as if NUP is the most democratic party. You see, there are disagreements, and it has also given birth to
But he has
Mpuga's
clearly
party.
said that NUP
Yes.
is not democratic.
Yes, because
I
he's
have-
blaming
and the reason
FDC,
is
and of course he's blaming
I have said
FDC.
we cannot practice democracy in a dictatorship.
Yes,
I have said that for us as a national unity platform,
yes,
we still belong to the people power movement.
yes.
The people move.
Does
the people
Mpuga belong to People Power?
Mpuga was from DP.
Does
When
he
you-
have a political party now?
Yeah,
formed?
no, it's, I don't know. I want you to ask, then I respond.
Yes,
You-
I've asked and you've answered.
allow
Now
me
go
to
to
respond.
another one.
Mpuga was in the Democratic Party, DP. So when the
No,
People
I'm
Power
talking
movement
about-
came in,
Yes.
when People Power movement came in, he came. Then he decided to join it. By the time he decided to join, we had started on a process of identifying a political vessel. Now, you can call it NUP, National Unity Platform, as a political party because it was a requirement by Electoral Commission. So we used the National Unity Platform as a means
That one
to
you have already said
participating,
it.
yes, to participating in the national elections. But the core issue is, what do we stand for as National Unity Platform? What are we going to, what do we tell people when we appear on a TV, on a radio like this one, on a platform, given an opportunity? What are the issues we raise as National Unity Platform? We're saying it is our responsibility to liberate Ugandans from absolute poverty, from sick medical facilities, from corruption that is, a bad.
Okay.
So all those issues we have always raised.
Thank you, Brian.
and that's what we stand for as National Unity Platform.
Let's-
And you see, when President Museveni was in the bush, they never thought of changing leaders. Even since then, they have never thought of changing a leader. So some people thought they would come to NUP and try to contest, try to interfere with our leader. And for us, we're saying Mr. Chagulanyi is still in charge of this liberation struggle
Thank you,
we are
Brian.
in.
At least I'm sure that the High Command sat in the early 80s to decide on whether President Museveni will be president for either 4 years or 2 years or 1 year. There are even those that said it should be only months. And here we come. Yes,
The question now is,
Yes.
how different is NUP from the NRM?
help us understand that. Because he
They are
has
the
said,
same. They are the same.
Have you heard what Bright has said?
Yes.
He has said
That's an
the
excuse.
system
That's
and the
just an
state
excuse.
is orchestrated in a way that it cannot allow them to practice democracy within the party.
No. When has NUP ever called for primaries and they have been stopped? When? Just I want him to point a single event. So we don't have to use the status quo to justify our inner motives. Okay, so in the NUP, there is no intention at all or the will to have a free and fair election. Okay, and the way the flag bearers are appointed is not transparent at all. There's bribery there. And of course, we have no guarantees that those same flag bearers of the NUP are not actually NRM members. Okay? Because I, for one, don't trust him. I think he. So I.
We chased you from NUP because of discipline.
No
So
one
don't
has
talk
ever
nonsense
chased me
here.
away. No one has
You
ever
don't need
chased
to
me
trust
away.
me.
No,
I'm
no,
why you are
you see.
the child to trust
No, no.
me.
No.
Don't be silly. You
Let him.
concentrate
Let him.
on. You have been given
see.
a topic. Don't discuss me.
Me,
Don't
I'm
discuss
not
me.
discussing him.
Don't reduce to nothing.
Bright,
no.
let's
You
have.
see, so
no,
when
I don't. Does he need trust me?
but
no.
should
But
that
you
raise
see-
raise dust?
Yes,
If-
because you see,
If he
who
says-
tells him that I trust him?
you see.
Do I trust him?
Okay, okay,
So
you both-
you discuss. You have been given a question. Answer that.
Okay,
question.
you both
Not
don't
me.
trust each other.
And I'm coming.
Yes.
And I'm
It's
coming.
okay.
Yes.
And I'm coming.
That is
Okay.
finished.
Okay,
You
right.
see,
Okay.
It is on record that him.
I know
Bright,
you shouldn't discuss
No,
him.
I want to tell you.
Yes.
You see, I want to tell you.
Discuss me on radio.
You
That
shouldn't
one-
discuss
that-
him.
that's it cannot be official
Let's
information
stop
from who?
Let's stop
Are we discussing Bright here?
I will come back.
If you have.
Serving Africa's Sunday best.
It is hot in here, 18 minutes past 8 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station. It's that's how it gets. But I want to hear your feedback on our social media handles, 912 Cruise FM on X and 91.2 Cruise FM on Facebook. Now, if you want to be a part of the conversation on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Hudson, you've made it very difficult. I know you're laughing because of the state of affairs, but the point is, you've made it as a political party, you've made it very difficult for these parties to practice democracy. You've suffocated them as a party, the NRM. You've made it impossible for them to mobilize. You're using security agencies and the security apparatus to suppress and limit the activities of the opposition. Do you have a cause of action?
Mr. Banyaji, it's a two-edged sword. That question is against me, not as a representative of the party. But I want to point it out this way. This is a point of survival. It's a point of survival. Power works differently. If I'm to look at it from a realist perspective, it works differently. Yes, we are in a democracy, but let's first ask ourselves, is it indeed a democracy? This is a hybrid democracy. It is not the actual democracy of parties. And we must also understand that the people that have transitioned into this democracy of power, I mean that we are practicing right now, are people that came from the Bush War. They are revolutionaries. They have their way of looking at things, which might not be the same way as the people that introduced democracy to us.
But the same
also,
revolutionaries introduced and promulgated a constitution in 1995 and swore to respect and uphold the constitution.
That's why I said, when I look at it as a realist,
Yes.
I look at it from the reality of what things indeed are. Let's look at it this way. The president has been very clear that whom do you want him to cede power to?
To the law. The law
To
is
the-
clear.
No,
on
I'm
how.
just saying,
Yes.
from the realist perspective, he has asked this question on very many occasions. And look, we must also sit back and first turabye mutochi and ask ourselves, do we have any other better person that is going to look?
It's not
that
up
is
to
going
him.
to cede
It's
power
not up to the NRM. It's not up to the NRM to tell us who the successor of Museveni is or
You see,
should
as
be.
long as the NRM,
Okay.
you see, as long as the NRM still controls the majority of the votes and the majority of the state infrastructures, as if I'm to look at it from the realist angle, then we need to focus much more on the peace, on
Which
the
peace are you talking
environment,
about?
on the growth of the country economically, and preparing for the
So,
transition
Hudson, in a
within the
nutshell,
longer
Hudson, you're
term
saying
perspective.
in a nutshell, Ugandans and all these different political players face the reality we are under dictatorship.
No.
The
A
dictatorship-
hybrid democracy.
Okay.
We are under a hybrid
Meaning
democracy.
you're saying there is a dictatorship
No, a hybrid
with a
democracy.
pitch of democracy.
No, he's telling us.
I am saying.
Hey,
no, I
that's
am
what you're
saying
saying.
we are in a hybrid democracy.
What is
That's not in our
hybrid?
The hybrid
That's not in our
democracy
What are
is
the
where
two
we are
that
having a
create the hybrid?
leadership.
Yes.
Is where we are having a leadership that is transitioning from a military country, from a revolutionary kind of mindset to the new democracy. And that won't happen in 2, 3, 4, 5 or 10 years.
So do you
That
agree?
is going to be a transitional period. Let's wait.
Do you
The
do you
president-
now agree
Yes.
that the state is organized to suppress the opposition?
From a realist perspective, yes, that is what it is. And that's what it's going to be. Let's face the reality and we stop dilly-dallying around with
I think
majority of these
that's
things.
the answer.
You
Yes,
see,
Gwenje.
as educated people, we must know that there is the ideal and there's the reality.
Yes.
The purpose of the law is to implement what is the ideal. Okay? So we're not going to be here and then accept him to tell us that accept the NRM to assassinate members of the opposition, to torture them, because in philosophy it says if you cannot defeat him, join him or kill him. Okay? So we expect him to say that even if the NUP is a competitor of the NRM, we respect the NUP, and as a government in power, we have the mandate to help NUP perform its statutory roles, and we do not have to intervene in their performance of the same. So he should not be afraid of competition. Okay? So he is expected to not have the same mindset as Museveni. He should now be having a mindset of that since Uganda is a democracy now, okay, we should allow the NRM, the NUP, the DPC, the DP, the FDC to participate, but to stay for their participation under the guise of consolidating power is unacceptable. We have a constitution, and the constitution is our spanum. Okay? So when he intends to run as a candidate for MP, but he still holds that mentality that it is either NRM or NRM, and the only good NUP member is a dead one, then we are not going anywhere.
Mr. Wenje,
Yes.
Mr. Wenje, allow me to interject.
Yes.
Mr. Wenje paints a different picture and picks the words one says and turns them around. I
No,
have
but
not
he has
said-
been
no,
very
no, no.
clear.
I have
Yes.
not said that this is my mindset. I am painting a picture of the reality
No,
we
no,
are
but
in.
it-
And
that is your mindset, you as you.
Why do you continue
No,
to insist that this
see,
is my mindset?
You call
and I have
him,
said
you call
a
him
realistic perspective.
as an individual here. We want his opinion. Why do you think the NUP is suffocating
Man,
under the NRM?
I-
Yes, we don't want him.
And
to
in
tell
my
us
point,
the opinion of
look,
Museveni. No,
I want you to, I want us to look at this very objectively. And I already said that I'm discussing this from a realistic perspective. Look, we can all hide our heads in the sand.
So
and
maybe
be like
the
ostriches.
question I should put to you:
Yes.
do you think things should be different?
no, he
Do I
doesn't
think
so.
things
Things
should be different? We all know we are in a transitional period.
No,
We
the
are in a
question
transitional
the
period.
question to you,
We are in a
Hudson, as a
transitional
member of the
period.
NRM.
And I want also to
would you
I
see,
want to be very
would
clear
you see
on
an
this.
electoral
I have been telling people
Hudson, you as a member of the NRM, would you wish to see an electoral process that is not interrupted by the security agencies?
Absolutely, because you see,
Why isn't
when
it-
we- when-
why
no, no,
isn't
no,
it what
let
you
me
are
first
advocating
submit on
for?
that. Let me submit on that. Earlier, when my
Bright.
friend Bright here was submitting, he talked about interference of the big wigs to suffocate the people who are coming up. You understand? And I also want to point it out like this: even within the internal NRM, we have issues. And the issues of the big wigs and the issue of the way things should be run, we all don't subscribe to the same school of thought. And look, from an internal perspective, we discuss these things and we talk about these things. And look, like I always point out, we are in a transitional period. You've had MK. You've had
which transition are you talking about?
internally.
The
I want
other
to
day,
point out.
the
I want
other
to
day,
point
the
out.
chairperson of the NRM said he actually doesn't understand what.
Now look, you see, when
this
you only
conversation
look
is
at the
about.
transition from the top, then you lose the bigger picture. Look at the ground. Hudson, was I in politics? I'm now part of politics. When was I born? I am a child of the
regime.
Of the regime.
40
Of
years
the
old.
regime.
Yes.
I'm a child of the regime. Now, being a child of the regime, who is coming up and saying, look, I have ways and ideas that I think this should be moving forward.
No, you don't.
Should not be used against
you
me
don't. Okay.
simply because I'm pointing it out.
He has no
Ezra,
idea.
Ezra, let's have Ezra. Yes, the role of security agencies, and the opposition and the NRM have tried to urge of the importance of restraint for all political actors. Where should it be a limitation for security agencies to say, wait, must we not be seen to be neutral in this whole entire process? How far is it going?
For me, I will begin with the Constitution. It looks at all security agencies as non-partisan. So, if you're non-partisan, why should you take part in deciding with so and leave the other party? So we are not only asking security agencies to participate, but we are only telling them only to provide security. If Honorable Chagulanyi wants to come and campaign in Kachika, all they can do is to check whoever is entering, not to disrupt the campaigns or the activities of the political parties. And that's why you see the EC, the chairperson, Electoral Commission, was saying, let everyone stay in their lane. Because the issue is about providing security. It is not about participating in election. Why should we have members and other big weapons when there is only something small? I've been in town here because I work on High Street. And of course, you see people passing, they are not interrupted. And they can even take 10 to 20 minutes, but they go away. But once you involve security, you'll see commotion along the way. So my view is that whereas we have security agencies who are supposed to assist Electoral Commission in conducting an election because they are supposed to provide security, of course they are errant members of the community, and of course parties who would want to disrupt whatever is going on, but the issue should be there on, and of course be there only to provide security. The case of Mwanga Chivumbi, there are many cases they were telling them, like seeking permission. You don't seek permission. We are only informing you that we shall be conducting maybe a campaign or a delegates conference at this area. All you can do is to provide security.
Okay.
If it's a polling day, only make sure that people are doing what they are supposed to do, and that is in the spirit of the constitution and all the laws.
Thank you, Ezra. Yes.
We cannot expect the UPDF to be impartial here. See, when you have a CDF who is openly a supporter of the NRM, you don't expect the UPDF to come and just do its statutory role. They will come and interfere in the interest of the NRM. Okay? So I don't have any faith that the Electoral Commission or even the UPDF is going to help the situation. And it is time that the EC saw herself as a party in the election process, not just as a supervisor or a regulator of the same. It is a party, and if it does not rhyme with the statutory requirements, then the entire election is null and void. So I call upon the CDF to be to kind of be careful. He should not openly support a party, because if you support the NRM and I'm a member of the NUP or the FDC, how am I going to have faith in the UPDF?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me bring Bright. Bright, isn't it also very lazy of you, the opposition, to think that the NRM that picked arms, went to the Ruwero to fight for 5 years, lost their comrades, and captured power in 86, is going to give you power just on a silver platter or concede after a result of an election? Isn't that lazy for you to imagine that General Museveni can after an election hand power to the opposition? Isn't it weak?
It is also very weak for you to think that we think like so. We
yes,
because now we know the character of the person we are trying to deal with. General Yoweri Museveni went to the bush in 1972. Amin had just captured power. He had spent only 1 year in leadership. He had not known whether Amin was going to become a dictator or not. By the way, most of the bad things that were done during Amin's government regime were done because already President Museveni had joined the bush to fight his leadership. So he was trying to fight rebels joined with the Tanzania army and Obote. So imagine a person who went to the bush had a year in office by Amin. So we're saying that we know the character. Even before 1980 elections, President had clearly said it, that he would join the what? The Bush. Even before elections. In 1980, remember, in 1980 he was a vice president of Uganda. He was the vice chairperson of the military commission. He was a deputy of Paulo Muanga, if you can remember well.
Yes.
But you remember when they captured the power under UNRA, something of that sort. Yes. Under the leadership of Yusuf Rule, he was appointed a minister for defense. He was trying to overthrow his boss. When the secret leaked, he was demoted to the minister of regional cooperation. That gentleman called Museveni. So in 1980 elections, by the way, they wanted to kick him out of the elections. So they said, now let us see, now contest in our political parties. And at that time, he did not belong to any political party. He was neither in DP nor in UPC. That's why he hardly formed the UPM, which performed badly. So we know, and when he captured the power, President Museveni, we know he captured the power using politics or military. The answer is military. So what did he do? What has he been able to do to sustain power? By creating a broad-based government. How do you sustain a broad-based government? By using money and bribing, intimidation, and killing the opponents. Say the truth of the matter is, we know him. We have written very many books about his life, his character. We know him. So nobody should tell lies that for us we are just there, waiting for him to hand over power to us.
Are you planning to organize an insurrection or an armed rebellion? Since you know him and it's not about handover power.
No, we are using very many platforms.
You're
for
continuing
example,
to encourage Ugandans to participate in an electoral process,
yes,
which result you know you will not respect.
Yes, who tells you that we are going to elections to remove government, the government, Yoweri Museveni? We are using it as a platform. We have very many platforms. I am here on cruise. Am I here to remove government? After the show, Museveni will have gone. But it is a contribution. We are using very many, any opportunity we come across. We use it. We are in parliament. Somebody was saying that we shouldn't be in parliament. I don't agree with them. It is another platform. We use it. So there are many platforms we must use to make sure that we deal with this dictator. The dictator, you must give him multiple headaches from different angles. You cannot sit and think that just elections. We are going to organize demonstrations, peaceful, lawful demonstrations. We participating in elections. We are educating the citizenry about their fundamental human rights, what they expect from leaders. I told you, many Ugandans don't know their rights. They don't know their rights. They even don't know that it is their fundamental freedom to access free and quality education. They don't know it. They don't know that when I am sick, when they are sick, it is the role of government to treat them. They don't know it. For them, they say when they visit the hospitals or health centers and there are no medical facilities, for them, maybe they turn to God, they go to church, they think it is not the responsibility of government. Therefore, Mr.
As you conclude.
Yes, I want to conclude by saying that really it is not true that we are just there seated and thinking that we are going to use only one way of elections to remove this government. But it is on a platform, like we have very many platforms, like we are trying to use them, the diaspora, the role of foreign support. There is no liberation struggle that has never been helped by the foreigners to overcome their challenges. Because you see, when you look at Mozambique, what happened in Zambia, what happened in Malawi, what happened in Congo, what happened in Uganda here, remember how Gaddafi supported us. So we are not, and you know, NUP is superb on issues of dealing with foreigners, people who are staying in diaspora. So we are using very many approaches to make sure that we deal with this junta.
To the MVPs of the show, the telephone calls on 752-912-912, Call in and let's get to hear your contribution on the topic of discussion this morning. On Facebook, Kayongo Zubail, we are asking how best will the Electoral Commission ensure a free and fair election. Kayongo Zubaila Tumal says, we have a problem with Uganda's Electoral Commission is working for personal are not for the nation, and we can't be sure about the Electoral Commission to organize a free and fair election. Turi Ruben is saying the Electoral Commission made a serious mistake in removing the use of a ballot box and ballot papers in NRM primaries, which makes some of the voters, the people to vote leaders, who are not of their own interests. But that's not how the general election will be conducted. I have Nwahiriza Simon. You're listening in all the way from Kazo, and you're saying, I think that voters should also reduce violence on the election day. All right. Talking about violence, the other day, Kavuli was seen with the same members of the NUP beating each other without police intervention, without any hand of the NRM, and you were fighting, beating your colleagues. So how do you expect to give what you don't have? Andrew Tumusimo on Cruise TV saying these elections in Uganda ruled by money, army, and Gambanogo. Asingwire Kenneth, you're saying, all right. Let's go to the telephone calls on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Call in and let's get to hear from you. The big set.
Yes, good morning, West.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Honest from Tagata Kizawa today.
Yes, Honest.
I thank you for your participation on this country. But what is the starting for our country and the continent at large is that we are still under foreigners. There is no country in Africa which is independent. We are not ready for political parties. That's why we are having so many challenges in our country and in our country, specifically Uganda. What Bright is talking about is that his President Nupu is having the support from foreigners. Those are the very people who are bringing case in our country because they don't want to give us the freedom. They want to teach you how to repair a radio. They don't want to teach you how to make it. The materials they use to make these radios, phones, and whatever, they get those materials from our continent. So if we don't, from today, if we don't unite as Africans, we are going nowhere. So from today, Bright and your president, I know the foreigners are supporting you, but use right procedures to get the leadership. Don't use violence. Those are mechanisms we are talking about.
All right, thank you, Honest, for your contribution this morning. Let's catch another call on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The big set.
Yes, morning, Western.
Yes, good morning, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm The Rock from Rentoa.
Yes, please.
Sometimes I ask myself, if Nupu was the one in leadership, would they surrender? Power isn't like that. Museveni is just doing what he has to do. Let them look for other means to chase him away, but let them not scream.
I think you've been thorough. You've been on point. I think let's also be reasonable. This gentleman hunted his lion and is feasting on it. And the NUP to think they can sweet talk him out of power is literally a daytime lie. The big set. Hello, caller, Cruise FM. Yes, please. We're not hearing you clearly.
Hey, Magamba, hona trumpet.
Yes, trumpet.
Ati tumeki Amazon. Twasima heri zao izumstudio yabo atayaisha. Ko kambweni ekizibu nikimu. Kuno jamba garaho ejirimiti. Abazeyi bakargom politics akataha mwimini tabazeyi wapi ababa Nupu barwanse cha ejirimiti kizako bazenyuma. Atuno usanga umuntu aine imyaka 8 akweza no kweza na ari naza kwakira nanda nomination form kuza kwesimba kukora azomukaze kurebere bye nebiro no bitera ko basegeze kuza kufa agenda ze kurebere bye kai. Thank you.
All right, you appreciated. Let's pick another call on 752-912-912 and 780-912-91. So the big set.
Hello.
Yes, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Chabrazi. I come from Bushenyi.
Yes, please. How is Bushenyi?
And a member of Alliance for National Transformation.
Oh, okay.
I want to welcome all those panelists, more especially my friend Kansogwenge. I'm very happy to hear from him. getting back to the point, this NRM government, really they have been unfair. You look at someone, yesterday, but one I saw this man, General Moses Ari. What do people need? I haven't been page. So I don't know where we are going to end, but what can save our country is only good intervention. But because it seems these people are hard to deal with, but I know God will intervene with them one time, like this PFF normally says, one time we'll reach there. And this part of NUP is having gentlemen, very good gentlemen, like the Senyonis, the Rubongoya, but the character of Francis Zake, the character of the Brights, really they cannot view the party. Recently, I was seeing on social media how Bright was talking against the Mbwake Kamwa. You ask yourself, someone is not consisting with him, but he's talking as if we need to mind our business. I thank you.
All right, you're much appreciated there. Thank you so much for the feedback. It's 11:15. Let's pick more of the calls. The big set.
Hello.
Yes, lady. For the very first time, what's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Aine Kevin from Ruvayakachi.
Yes, Kevin.
Tim Lloyd Agambano Kola. Now, what I can also say about the government of Uganda, the government has tried its level and has done what it's all. Leadership is not all about the age. Leadership is not all about the what, but leadership is all about how you lose people. The way of conduct.
Kevin, Kevin, if I ask you, and you saw the nomination of General Moses Ali, it's not about age, but we were all able to see the state of his being. Are you proud of the state of affairs that you can have an 86-year-old man who has been in parliament for over literally about 30 years, interested in contesting again? You have nothing against that? Sorry, just lost Kevin. But thank you, Kevin, a lady, for calling in this morning to make it known that it's not about age, but rather what a person is able to do. Let me pick a bit more calls so that I come back to the panel and to the messages that are dropping on our social media handles on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The big set.
Hello.
Yes, please. You're loud and clear.
Good morning, Grace again.
Good morning to you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Masinge Kenneth from Uganda.
Yes, Kenneth.
On the topic of discussion, so even though police intervenes or it doesn't, of course, these people who are in power, according to our government, they must win, and they are driving us the way they want. So it would be good if police, as you stated, sits aside, stays away from the political issues and serves the country as the arm of the country, defends the people and their properties, not intervening in the politics. Thank you, very much.
All right, you're very appreciated. Let me go to X as I came back for the parting shots. Musinguzi Onesimus, you're saying, I think that security is basic as far as voting is concerned because it's an activity that involves emotional differences. Let the security system be on guard, not to harm us. We've gotten your feedback on the debate, and you said we should up the quality because it's gotten very emotional. And you're saying we lack control and all that. We've gotten the message. We shall get things better. Thank you, Erno, for the feedback. Then I see King Lito. You're saying the first thing is to keep the army and other security agencies away from the election. They will reduce fear and intimidation, especially in rural areas. Spencer Aizuka, you're saying independence, transparency, and accountability are key to free and fair election, but the commission's impartiality is often doubted. Edson Eddy, you're saying at our level, Uganda police cannot control the election to move smoothly. They bring in the army, yet people fear the army, and this also makes them no vote. Let me end with Ahamia Joseph. You're saying easily said, but it can't be implemented because they operate on orders from above. Let me, yes, Wayne.
The idea of age has come up in the submissions of the callers, but there would be nothing wrong with an 85-year-old person if a 30-year-old person also has the same view as the 85-year-old person. For example, my friend here has shown us that he has nothing new at all from what Museveni is stating. So, if Museveni is officially 81 years, and my friend here is 41 years, but they hold the same view that the opposition should not be allowed to perform, that Uganda is still a continuing democracy, and it should always be young, and it should be young forever, and we are not ready for parties and so forth. So there's nothing new from him as a young man. So why shouldn't an 80-year-old person also stand?
Okay.
Because after all, the people who are younger than he or she is are not any different.
Okay, thank you, Bonje.
But what I have a piece of advice for the EC. You see, when there is electoral violence, for example, there's interference by the state, you do not have to stop the election there and go and count there. You can make an adjournment until the violence has
subsided.
Yes, has stopped.
Yes,
and then you come and you hold the election.
Thank you,
but you should not infringe on the right of any person to vote just because there is violence by the state.
Thank you. Hudson, your parting shot.
Thank you, Mr. Banyaji. I think in my conclusion, I also want to point out that it is wrong to assume things without facing the reality around us. We must first accept that there are things that do exist, and then after acknowledging that actually they exist, then we can look for the solutions. There will be solutions that will be tailored from the opposition perspective, but there will also be solutions tailored from within the NRM perspectives. And I want also to point out that, look, I mentioned the issue of transition. Here, Council Wenje might point out that our school of thought, me and the president, seems to be the same, of which I don't differ that much, because that is the stand of the party, which I am participating from within, and I must reflect the party stand. But also, if I have any issues or concerns, that is what democracy asks us to do. If there are any issues or that I don't agree with, I'm not going to come here and then I start saying, behaving like as if I'm opposition. And yet I also have platforms from within the NRM where we are supposed to be having these issues addressed.
Lastly, yes.
Yes, the stand of the NRM is very clear. Our president is coming back, and I call upon everyone to support him and to give him their votes. And I'm also contesting in Rwampara for Member of Parliament, Rwampara County, and I call out for support from the listeners as well, and people of Rwampara. Thank you.
Councillor Ezra.
Yes, I've heard from listeners. I think there are certain things we need to change. Someone cannot say that if you are in power, would you hand over like that? You see, we should not have double standards. If the NRM captured power, there were issues that were affecting Uganda then. And of course, we have a constitution. They later opened the multi-party politics. We have parties. So if you can't be seen to kill your own child, if you have been a propagate of having parties, allow them operate smoothly. Don't fear competition. So the take home should be, we cannot have a monarchy. If you have a party but you want to remain with the president, let the president compete with others. You cannot protect one person. if there is someone who is standing against him, you should not make it impossible for that person to the political terrain to campaign.
Oh.
That's all.
Thank you, Ezra. Yes, my good friend, right?
Yes. Mr. Banyaji, I want to thank you for the show. But now, somebody says, I talked about Batekama. Yes, he was my member of parliament in Kasavia in Bende for a long time. I don't want to mention him now, talk about him now. But
you come from my village in
you see, I have my goats in Bende, and I have some investments in this town. So it is ideally my responsibility to try to be seen trying to guide. So my guidance can be taken in good faith, or it can also be rejected. So those that have taken it, they have, and those that have rejected it, they have, and it's okay. That's what we call democracy. Somebody says President Museveni is not going anywhere. We shall not remove him. Yes, we know that. We know that. There are many people who think like him, and for us, we are doing what is within our means to make sure that we dislodge him. We remove him. And you see, our purpose, our target is not him as an individual. We are not targeting his personality. We have no personal beef with him. We are saying he should go away because he has failed to deliver. You see, we are not pleading with him. We are not begging him. You see, when we say we want services, it's not, we know he's not a charity organization. We give him our money in the form of taxes. So we're saying he has misused our money. He has not used our money to meet our expectations. He has not doesn't carry out research. He doesn't know what affects us. He doesn't know national priorities. He takes money to issues which don't develop the country. I mean, the tariffs for water are going high all the time. The other time they said now Memo was going away. They were bringing CDL, and we were expecting the tariffs of Memo to reduce, and they have not. People are stuck at home without fees. We're saying, so we raise pertinent issues. We are not simply saying that Museveni goes away.
Thank you.
Museveni should go away, but we are giving a justification. We're saying he has failed to deliver.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bright Momza. Thank you, Mr. Twat Tonayesu Hudson. Thank you, Council Bwende Dosdidit. And thank you, Council Ezra, for sparing time to come to the show. My name is Westige Banyaji. Let's meet next week, Saturday, on the big seat. We have news at the top of the hour. Don't touch your radio, because Cruise FM has very good programming for you to take you through the weekend. God bless you. We are out. Stay in peace.
The views expressed